Hello, I'm Jimmy, and the theme I chose for the graphic novel is betrayal. I think betrayal is shown through different perspectives in the story. And with this first panel, you see the first sign of betrayal is Winston to the party. That's when he first starts to think separately and think that he can have something more outside of the party's rules. The second slide shows that Winston is starting to betray more of the way the party wants him to be, because he's starting to distinguish himself from the rest of the people. This is another frame that shows Winston doesn't like the way that the party rules, and he doesn't like how people are insensitive to things that should be, frightening. So this one shows that he's betraying the party because he's not thinking the way the party wants him to think. And this next chapter, it shows Winston and Julia first talking, and this is when he first brings another person into the betrayal against the party. This shows that there's multiple people that think just like Winston, and this is the first time we see two people get together and thinking separately from the party. This is another panel that adds on to that first one of being together and being against the party. This one shows that the two being together is just a dream, but that they want to make it happen. And by this panel, this is back to the betrayal of the party. This is where Winston walks past the telescreen in a sign of almost ignoring it, trying to ignore the ways of Big Brother and the party. And this one here shows that Winston doesn't align himself with the way that the party works and how the party wants him to function, because as he's walking back to the city, he knows that that's not the place for him. And by this chapter, around the end of part 2, is the first time it's about the last time we see Julia and Winston rebelling against the party and betraying the rules of the party together. And as we're at this point, Julia and Winston are caught by the thought police, and Winston is alone in the room just waiting as time goes by. And right here, he knows punishment is coming, but he still doesn't want to submit to the ways of the party. And by chapter 3 to 5, this is when we see another way of betrayal, where Winston is betraying Julia directly. This is when he chooses himself over Julia to avoid what he's seeing in room 101. And by this chapter 6, we see that Winston, he recognizes that he's not the same as he was before. And he recognizes, while sitting next to Julia, that he doesn't have that same desire to betray the party. And by this point, that's when we see the last version of betrayal in the story, which is betrayal to his own self, where he's succumbing to the ways of the party and Big Brother.